Dus Peter Toya, Hunter Toy, Chris Van Sel, Saman Marat, Wilco Loos, Goran Tabeni, and Stephen Kutzoff, who's a captain. On the bench, Chad Solomon, Alif Mark, Frans Maherbe, JD Schikkeling, Kobus Visa, Ernst van Rang, Paul de Vet, and Jean-Luc Duplessis.
Dat was so what on Trokker's inclusion?
Yeah, look, he's been out for a long time, and so we gave him some game time off the bench last week, and to me, he's one of our top loose forwards. You know, he's got real X factor. He plays very similar to Jaco Kutsia. You know, with Jaco injured, it was absolutely no brainer. Just that Jaco can play 6. I think Troki is an out and out 8.
And then, do you think he would be up for what, about 60 minutes up there?
The paradigm around Troki is that he's unfit, you know, but he's built, unfortunately. You know, he's got a bigger engine than people think. But that would probably, you know, I think any loose forward playing like he does of his build would probably be around then. Yeah, I think it's a fair question. But he's got a lot more energy, a lot bigger engine than we think. You know, last week he hadn't played since in late August, and he didn't struggle at all.
But the Lions have just announced that Philip Orbix is playing after all. Does it surprise you? Does it make any difference to you?
Answer to both, probably no. To both. You know, obviously, you know, rugby. It's obviously a great forward and a great springbok, but you know, this competition takes you a few weeks to get into it. We've seen it across the first few rounds, so it'll take him some adaptation. I'm sure they're trying to use it to make a big impact, but you know, he's also going to be met by coming off the bench Messrs. Maherbe, Schikkeling, and Visa. So I'm not too concerned, to be honest.
Is it frustrating to lose continuity at 19?
Yeah, I mean, to lose Herschel, but you know, we also know that at the same time that Herschel is not going to start every game of Super Rugby. He can't, in terms of it's a rugby protocol, and also, you know, we've got injury to one. We have to build some capacity. So that's what's, you know, there's a silver lining to the cloud, and that is, you know, obviously exposing Paul and giving Godwin a start. So we're going to have to do it sometime. Next week we've got a hell of an important conference game like this one. So, you know, we are guaranteed that Herschel and Jaco are both back next week. So that's probably the silver lining.
The Lions also have a new scrum.
Yeah.
What do you know anything about it?
If you went filming, I could say so. No, I don't. No, Alan Solomons used to have a saying, this is not for the record. Alan Solomons, I wouldn't know the fellow if you're swimming my cornflakes. You know, that was Alan Solomons, that was old Sollyism. No, hey, look, we watched him the last few weeks. He's got really good service, but we don't know, you know, it's obviously his first season, so we don't know too much about him.
But just in terms of the game, what are you expecting and what have you seen so far from them? Is there signs, are there signs of the Lions that we know, or do you think it's going to be something different?
No, I think it was hard to read too much into the game in Buenos Aires, and last week, you know, the hour before the game wasn't even on. They put on Twitter, that's why the crowd looked even worse. So it was hard to read too much, you know, because they are a multi-phase team who played high tempo and very hard in a downpour. So I'm not being funny. We're not literally unsure there's been a change. I don't expect, you know, from Akis to Swace, there wasn't any change in their DNA. You know, Kashi was the guy who sort of conditioned them for that. So not expecting them to deviate from tempo, and probably given the strength of our pack, they might try and make us run around a bit. But we're prepared for that.
Doggo, we saw a bloke who's been doing particularly well for them is Tyrone Green, and over here I think last year in the Curry Cup there was one poor kick, and Tyrone Green scored a really good try. I mean, is that a guy that you think could be in this game a potential danger man, and just your thoughts on the importance of kicking well?
Yeah, I think yeah, he did hurt us at Newlands last year. He changed the game with that break. We did a poor midfield contestable. And, you know, I know that him and Bubu's, they're sort of physical counter-attackers, if that makes any sense. You know, they'll try and do a tackle burst. So your chase you're almost on the chase, and he's just sort of Constantina to try and get a double in around there. No, he's got X factor, as is Bubu and Reese. So, yeah, we're aware of that threat and preparing for it.
But in terms of kicking from 9 as well. Not a lot of kicking for Godwin under pressure. He came on when the games were fairly done. How confident are you that he will be able to execute there?
As I said to you earlier in the week, I'm very excited about Godwin. So he's a guy who's been through, the trials and tribulations. His kicking game, when he was first, I think you'd agree, lads, when he was first here, he wasn't a great box kicker. But he was just a guy around expecting his break. But now, so physically and in terms of his kicking game, he's a different person to what he was. So I'm really, really excited for this opportunity for him. I'm not saying it for the sake of it. I mean, his box kicking and Herschel, it's hard to tell them apart at the moment. Both have grown so much in terms of that part of their game. Both with sort of instinctive scrum-halves, Scotland, 3 or 4 years ago, Herschel, a year and a half ago. But they've really worked incredibly hard on that. So, as I say, we would have given Godwin a start sometime. This is a good opportunity for him.
Robert was announced earlier today that Wilco is going to be off to England. I mean, considering that what Wilco has done for you the last few seasons and so on, can you just sort of verbalise how, it's going to be short to medium term, it's difficult to replace a guy like that, but just your thoughts on that? Yeah,
it is tough to lose him because he's a guy we're very fond of, as you say. He's got a great track record. He's still very young as a Tighthead. But if you sort of know where Wilco's from, and in the broader sense, this is an opportunity he couldn't say no to. Which is possibly, he didn't make the World Cup squad, and there's a chance for him to, he could get 9 years of professional, 9 or 10 years of France. They go to about 40, don't they? 12, 13 years of earning euros or whatever it is. So we couldn't stand in the way of him, given the numbers, and given the fact that you can't, with an incredibly quality prop like France Mahuba and a quality prop and a quality individual and a leader like France, you can't go to Wilco and give him an assurance, because France is so good. So it was the right thing for us. We're releasing him as per the release to let him go, because we understand the way. We're so fond of Wilco. And rugby's not a sport we can say, no, you must stay or anything like that. So he genuinely goes with our blessing and much affection. But we did give him a hard time on Tuesday. We were having a braai out at Cliffenberg, and we said, listen, that fella there, Jamie Roberts, was sort of eating steak off a fire with his fingers, saying he left Harlequins to come here for less money, and now you want to go there. He says, are you all about the money? And he stormed off. So, no, it's a great opportunity for Walker. We can't give him guarantees, Stephen, around game time, but we are going to have to find the next one. We've got some ideas.
Who are the next ones?
Well, Netland for Shear's guy. He's a different sort of Tighthead, but we're working on what I think he needs to work on. But you won't get many more skilled Tightheads in South African rugby than Netland. He's talked up by Matt Proudfoot. He's got 1 or 2 things to iron out on his scrumming. And it's a product of, unfortunately, this unit behind Wilco and France. You just don't get the experience. So we want to back Wilco, Netland. And then there's a guy called Sazi Sandi, who's a under 21 prop, who we're also quite excited about. So it's quite a nice mix if you finish with that. Netland can run out and come and you got France is still here next year. We're quite excited about that sort of mix. And we're hard to, as I said, it's the reason we let Carlu go. It's hard to manage those guys, and they've got legitimate expectations.
Results aside, Dobbo, what are you hoping to achieve on the weekend? Obviously the win, but I mean, just performance-wise, what do you want to see?
Obviously, the obvious knee-jerk to last Saturday said, want to see us attack with a bit more rhythm. Definitely want to see the same standard defensively. If you said, because I think we can set a competition marker down there. But our attack is I mean, Stephen will see it. We're training. You've seen it yourselves. Is far superior to what we produced last week. So I'm looking forward to in those conditions, hopefully a bit more space. If they loosen it up a bit, hopefully we can see our strike power as well. That'd be the main thing for me.
Okay, I'll ask both of you this question. I mean, it's quite a significant game in a way, in the sense of on the log position as well, and the fact that you haven't won there in 5 years. I mean, do you see it that way? Do you see this as almost like a sort of a, what do I call it, you go through a barrier because you haven't won away often in recent years either? I mean, that you see this as a special game because it will put you sort of quite a long way ahead of the certainly the inland teams, and give you confidence.
Yeah, I think a weekly prep, we definitely mentioned it, and
is something we're thinking about and trying to achieve is getting away from home victories as well, because as soon as you win away from home, your chance of making home playoffs is so much greater. And it's definitely something we thought about a lot this week and definitely want to achieve this weekend.
So you're excited? I mean, it's a special game for you.
100%.
Stephen, meeting a guy like Jantjies du Plessis in the scrum is obviously very experienced veteran. You're expecting him to pull off a few tricks on Saturday.
Yeah, can't remember the last time I scrummed against Jan. It must have been before 2015. Yeah, excited to actually see him on the field again and play against him. Definitely going to think he's going to come with some tricks, and probably going to taught Kadu some tricks as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this weekend.
Stephen, you mentioned, Gavin mentioned that you struggled away from home. What do you think was the barrier that kept you guys from not winning? And do you think that, especially with what's going on in the squad, that you have what it takes this year to break that barrier?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not completely sure what mental barrier the Oaks had when it came to away games. I also feel like the last couple of years with the Stormers, we toured quite early and then we got a bad record on tour, and then it almost carried over into the rest of the season. So this year we had two good home games. Teams didn't concede a point. We didn't concede a point against us, and yeah, so we can just take that confidence into this weekend. Trust our defensive structures, and hopefully get our rhythm on attack, as Dobson said earlier, and hopefully we can get a good result away from them as well.
Stephen, you give us a sense. Dobson spoke about the defence and the 2 clean sheets in the first 2 weeks, but as a group of players, how much pride do you take from having kept 2 sides out in back-to-back weekends?
Yeah, definitely we take a lot of confidence out of it. I think Norman's getting a lot of accolades and a lot of pats on the back from everyone in the whole squad. So yeah, we just have to keep it up and not disappoint the Stormers supporters and the people around us. So we need to keep building on this performance and keep keeping our defensive record quite clean and good.
Dobby, do you look at the log at the moment, or is it still too early? Just in terms of what you can sort of put a bit of breathing space.
Yeah, look, interconference games we're acutely aware of. So this week is we've got 3 interconferences in a row. So we had the Bulls, got the Lions this week, and obviously Jaguars a massive one next week. So from that point of view, we look very close. You almost want to look at that log. 2 rounds you can't. 4 or 5 we can start getting a better picture of the overall stuff. Yeah, so I think it's I think it's a good reflection on this union or this team or this franchise. I was just talking to Mike before. The Bulls have lost from the World Cup final. I think 4 players. I probably got it wrong. Pollard, Herschel, Lewis, and Dwayne. From that World Cup final, we were without 5. So it's not like everywhere's written up that the Stormers are the best team because we kept all these guys. The truth is, since the start of Super Rugby, Sears out, Herschel out, Spongy's out. Eben and Damien left. I think that we can still put out such a powerful squad, powerful team is a really good reflection on this group and how they've trained and everything like that. So I'm excited, and they're potential 5 for 4 point or 8 point swings, which is really where you want to work if you play the Lions and the Jaguars. So there won't be any shortage of focus or motivation from our part.
And you have a bow after the Jaguars game as well. So it's also
No, because the Blues.
And you have the Blues.
And then we get a dice tavern.
Is World Cup for France, that's just a rotation, keeping both fresh and happy?
Yeah, you can't. We can't sacrifice. Guys leave. The Super Rugby campaign is the most important thing for us. So it's never going to be a case of we're not playing Wilco because he's going. Do you know what I mean? That we can do that in other competitions, the Super Sport Challenge, or even in the Currie Cup. We can think of it like that. This is our blue chip competition. So I want to give Wilco needs a start. He's in really good shape. He can run and track much better than he used to. And also got to bear in mind you're going to come back to the Jaguars next week, and then suddenly Frans Maherbe back in the mix. Trocky, Herschel, JD's got a game under his belt. Kubus Visa's game 3. Trocky's back. It becomes potentially a formidable outfit. So there's a chance for work.
Pablo, you mentioned that eventually points will be scored against you guys possibly at
Definitely be scored at Ellis Park.
at Ellis Park. Have you chatted to the guys? I mean, two games and no points, but eventually when a team score, they will have their tail up. They were the first team to score against you guys. Have you guys spoken about that moment?
Yeah, so I spoke to a couple of them about it. You know, there's going to be a woo, the first team that scores against us, and of course it's going to happen. But you know, people say, okay, you know, that Mornay turned down 36 points in kicks. But don't forget, every single one of those kicks went to the corner where we had to defend. No problem for them to go for poles. Much less defensive work. The fact that every time we went to the corner, defend is good reflection. So, you know, I'm interested in the tries column. I accept that they're going to kick penalties, you know, and Ellis Park just by nature, it's you know yourselves from All Black games there 15 years ago, there's 44-40s, 12-3 at Newlands, you know, so it's going to happen, and we expect that, but we've got a certain standard, and I'm only really interested in the tries column, and that I'm sure, yeah, if it's one of, it's going to happen, and we know it's going to happen, but we're going to maintain our standard. You know, I think if you go to Ellis Park and you concede 1 or 2 tries, like 1 or 2, you've won the game. You know, so that's our goal.
So I know you spoke about it on Tuesday, so apologies if this is repetitive, but the goal kicking, since then, what's happened with Damien? I mean, has it been a case of extra work and just kicking a hell of a lot more balls, or has there been any kind of shift in the way he's going about that at training?
I see Nasboord had some advice to him on Super Rugby, dropping his hips. No, Damien's, that's an off day. It happens to any kicker. He's trained, you know, in New Zealand, Rubik, Castile, those guys are out there. He was training really, kicking really well. I'm convinced it's a blips. You know, Lord, if we this time next week having the same conversation, then something more structural. But we've analysed the film and looked at his technique. You know, so we're pretty confident that he's going to be fine.
All right, well, good. Thank you very much.